So next I'm going to show you how to put a stand-up collar onto your dress and line it out. So this is the type of collar, a little stand-up collar like this, and this is it here cut out. Okay, so just turning it wrong side out again. So I literally folded the piece in half and closed my centre back seam. So that's it, literally folded in half, and that's the right side inside there at the moment. So it was right sides together, and I sewed down this side and then I sewed down that side, and then you literally turn that corner through. So I find it best not to clip that bit, because I think it gives, if you're looking for a nice square finish, it actually just works better if you leave that there. So you literally fold that over, tuck it in behind, and then push through, and you get a lovely square corner. Okay, and same on the other side. Fold that over, push through, and you get a nice square corner. And that's your collar. Okay, so we have all our notches. We have our centre front notch, our shoulder notches, and we're going to line those up with everything on the dress. Okay, so I'm just going to mark in a centre front notch on my dress, which wouldn't have been on my pattern because it was cut to the fold. So I'm just matching my shoulder seams, folding it over, and then just putting a very small little nip in there at the centre front. So I just have a 1 centimetre seam allowance here on my neck, so I'm going to line up the centre front notch on my collar with the centre front notch on my dress. Now bear in mind, your collar has been fused and stiffened, your neckline is not, so the neckline will have a tendency to stretch, so you really need to make sure to allow the collar dictate the length and not stretch the neckline out of shape completely. So there's my shoulder notch on my collar, and I'm matching that with the shoulder notch on my dress. And then I want the centre back to line up with my zip. So just match those two up. Okay. So as you can see, it's all just matching nicely. One centimetre on such a curved seam is plenty seam allowance. I find 1.5 more difficult to handle, and you can end up with more problems. So now I'm just matching the notches on my shoulders again, and then lining up with the centre back. Okay. So pin it in as many places as you feel you need to, and then we're simply going to pop it under the machine, making sure everything's nice and square at the back. Reposition your pin if you need to. Okay, and as I say, we've only a centimetre seam allowance to take here, so you can always double check that. And then off you go. So this is also going to have a layer lining, which will finish off the neckline on the inside. So just make sure that the neckline of your dress hasn't kind of slipped down inside, and also make sure that there's no big tucks. So you just have to constantly feel both sides as you stitch around, and as you come to the corner of the shoulder, it's important to let the dress lie flat here. Okay, taking your pins out as you go. And similarly, as you come around the front, allow the dress to sit flat. and letting the collar move as well. So anytime you feel a little ripple or something underneath, move the dress and get rid of it, but still keeping the pin in place. You're not taking the pin out, you're just getting rid of the ripples under here. Making sure to keep the seam allowance on your shoulder open. So there's a big tuck, that's the last thing you want. Just make sure to keep all that flat. And make sure this is all lined up square at the back as well. Your collar. So now we do the same and we place our lining on here. So the lining has the fusing on it, and that's also going to help give the whole thing stability. Okay. So again, keeping the dress right side out. Put the lining down inside. And at the moment, the collar is going to disappear inside the two layers. Just make sure you have that the right way around. So we want right side of the lining against the right side of the dress. So as I say, the collar is going to disappear down in between the two layers. So there's my dress inside, that's my dress, there's my collar, and now there's my lining. So I'm sandwiching the whole thing together. Okay, and again pin that round, matching up your seams. Okay, and now sew the lining on. So again, you need to keep an eye on what's going on underneath and make sure to feel the lining, that there's no pucks or tucks getting created as you sew on. So I still don't have the sleeves in my dress at the moment, or in my lining. They're going to be done in the next stage. So I'm just working around, making sure to keep my lining flat underneath. So it's really important just to feel all the time, because you can't always see what's going on. So you use your fingers, and you get used to feeling when something is wrong, or if it feels a little bit extra thick or something like that. And that's it. And you pull that out. And then to ensure that that will actually sit down inside nicely, that's the seam of your neckline, you snip in at the very curvy points. So snip into your neckline. whole way around. And then I would also recommend a back row. So again, pull the lining the whole way out. Put the dress under the machine. So there's my collar, there's my dress, there's my lining. I'm going to keep the lining down this way. There's my seam allowance. I'm going to start in a little bit, and about 3 millimeters down. Just do a little line of stitching, holding the lining onto the seam allowance. And that will just really help keep the lining in place. And it'll also have the collar to stand up. And it's just so easy to do it at this stage because you haven't got the lining closed at the centre back or anything like that. So you can really easily get in there. And it's a good professional finish. And then just stop a little bit short of the centre back.